was not happy in the relationship. His daughter was there, but he was not happy.
What guarantees that he's going to be happy by the time he settles down with Ifemelu? That's one shortcoming of fiction. This novel did not capture the whole lifespan of these characters. If you want to judge from that point and you think, okay, Obieze made the right choice, he's going to live happily ever after, but that's not guaranteed.
You obviously do not like how it ended for Kosi. Maybe biased towards Ifemelu. Maybe.
Hello and welcome. My name is Judare Kolome. With me here is
Godson Adichie.
Okay, Godson Adichie is someone I respect so much. He's actually my colleague. So today we are actually pairing because we'll be doing something slightly different from our regular routine on this channel. We'll be doing something on lifestyle and we'll be reviewing a novel, AMERiCANAH by Chimamanda. AMERiCANAH is the third novel by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and it was published in the year 2013. I would like to talk a bit on who Chimamanda is. I believe an average Nigerian already know who she is, but I'd like to remind us who she is. She's a born Nigerian. She was born in Enugu, even though she's originally from Anambra by origin. Like her parents are from, her dad is from Anambra State, and her dad was a professor of statistics in University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Likewise, her mom was also a lecturer, and the mom was actually the first registrar, the first female registrar in Nigeria. So Chimamanda grew up in Nigeria, in Enugu State. It's interesting to know that she actually grew up in a house that was formerly occupied by the prolific writer Chinua Achebe. And also Chimamanda, in her early years after secondary school, she enrolled into University of Nigeria, Nsukka, to read medicine and surgery, following the wish of her father. But after spending 1.5 years in College of Medicine, she decided to chase her dream after she got a scholarship to study communications and political science in the United States. And today she's one of the great voices in the world. We'll be going straight to reviewing the book. Before we proceed, what do you think was the central theme of this book?
Okay, I think we might differ on what we actually take as the central theme of the book. But I felt first and foremost, the book was about identity of someone, coming to know who you are.
Okay.
And especially in a time where there's a lot of race relations. Yes, there's also the theme about the love story. Okay. But I felt like the love story was just the backdrop of every other thing that was going around in the novel, including the idea of changing to a new environment where you have to make do away with your accents, make do away with your hairstyles, especially for females. You have to blend into a new environment so you can see the fitting and accepted in such an environment. And also, I think also important to add is also the idea of feminism in a way. There was a feminist theme to the novel that also obviously drew my attention to it.
So if in summary now I can say that the central theme of the novel is like around teenage love that later that transcended different years, different countries, and even into adulthood. Then race, challenges faced by young immigrants, and also feminism. So these are the central theme of the book. So the setting was in 3 different countries, precisely Nigeria, United States of America, and then London, England. So and also, what would you say about the main character? Just for a start, for people that have not really read this novel, because the intention or the goal of this review is also to make you see the need to probably pick up the book if you are someone that loves novels, and if you are someone that likes Chimamanda's writings. So what do you think about the major characters of this novel?
Okay, the 2 main characters of the book are Obieze and Ifemelu.
Okay.
Ifemelu, I like her because she's a strong female lead. She got to discover herself. I mean, she faced a lot of hurdles, starting from Nigeria, having to run away, because of the whole dictatorship and the rest of that military dictatorship was going on in Nigeria. She migrated to the US.
Why they even talking about the running away? Initially the Obienze and Ifemelu, after that they've already fallen in love in secondary school.
Yes.
They decided that they were going to go into the same university. They actually went to Nsukka. They were in Nsukka studying, and the main reason they ran away was because of the incessant ASO strikes, like the incessant striking of the union of the university as at that time, and also the fact that there was also more opportunity then. I think it was easier to, as a student, to get scholarship to study outside as at that time, because the setting of the novel is the 90s during the military rule actually. So, okay, you were saying something.
Yes, I was saying that, so she had to run away, and moving to US, it wasn't a bed of roses. Like many people would just think that once you go abroad and that's it, you find peace and that will be all. But she discovered that it's not so. She had to struggle, even if I had to teach at some point in time to get SSN. Her social security number was also a hurdle. She fell out of love, that's how I want to put it, and discovered even herself alongside her auntie Uju, who she went to live with in the United States. So I felt like it wasn't all the bed of roses for her, even from that moment when she came back. So her character was actually something that was a bit of an inspiration to me, and I think to also many other.
Precisely. Why would you say her character was like inspirational or sensational? What about her character?
I'm a feminist. I'll honestly say I'm a feminist. So I like the way she was portrayed. She had this sense of, I know who I am and I stand by it. When she came back to Nigeria, when Obinze was so rich and already married and so called successful, she didn't fall on his feet and tell him, "Oh, you are this, take me back."
We'll get there. We'll also get there to that, because that's towards the end of the story actually. But for me, I think what I would say got my attention about Ifemelu, why I would say she was actually inspirational, is the fact that she, even though in a foreign land where she was kind of away from everybody she loved, or rather she grew up with, she still had this sense of originality within her. She didn't want to conform per se. She had this sense of who she was. She knew who she was, and the fact that she doesn't have to bend her ways in order to be accepted. She wasn't scared of being different from every other person around her, and also the fact that she was willing to try out new things. For instance, imagine the fact that she started a race blog in the novel, and that was just something she just wanted to do to vent away her anger, and also to, like, most times you don't have someone to talk to, not talk to, basically, like, pour out your deepest concerns about, or you feel they may not really understand. And she just started this blog, and she started writing about these things that she was concerned about, and she actually, to an extent, she reached out to people through that blog, and also the blog in turn helped her. Like, at some point it became her source of livelihood. It brought in a lot of resources, and even helped her to experience another gift she had, that even when she, like you said, when she later came back to Nigeria, it still continued to be like a major source of livelihood to her. So that was how prolific Ifemelu was in the novel, and the way she was portrayed, she was like an original African girl. Not like she didn't lose her identity just because she traveled to this new place, and even having to leave all those comforts behind and come back to Nigeria to start all over.
Okay, to the second character now, the main kind of character was Obinze.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what to say about Obinze. He was a here and there person. But if I'm to just say something about him that I feel like was great, that I can point out, is his resilience. He was resilient. He, even all in Nigeria, struggling to leave to get to the US. Finally ended up in the US, but then he ended up being in the UK.
Yes.
He still felt like that's one where he was supposed to be, but still doing everything to see at least become a citizen there. I mean, not although now in our own generation where anybody can do anything, I'm not sure then it was even like easy for somebody to just like give up their this thing, get married, and like give up your identity to get the green card to stay in the country. Even when he was called, he still came back to Nigeria, and before he met chief, at least it was still like, I just had that feeling that he was just a resilient person that was.
He suffered though.
He
The guy washed toilets on the throne.
True. Something that
when he went to UK,
exactly.
he was middle class, because when he was back in Nigeria, even though he wasn't like a typical rich kid, he was a middle class person. But getting to the UK, the whole thing changed. There was no bed of roses in the UK. He had to struggle to survive.
And capping it up, he was even deported back to Nigeria
after spending, like the bulk of the money he made in UK, he actually used to plan the wedding he wanted to do, the sham wedding he wanted to the Portuguese lady, so that he can by that means get a green card, but it didn't work out. He was deported. And one thing I also love about him is the fact that he already made up his mind that he was not going to go back there. He was like, some people, like even while he was being deported, I don't know if you remember that scene, there were some people in the that were being deported alongside him that were already making up their mind that they are going to come back again, they are going to try. So what's the point? He has already seen it that there was no life in doing that. So he was ready to come back to Nigeria and find the path, or like find his destiny back home. Yeah, I think that was also remarkable about Ngozi, and the way he was also portrayed. He was not an African man, he was not a typical African man. Remember that Ngozi can cook.
Yes.
He can cook, like not just.
I think Chimamanda wrote him from her own lens, yes, from her own viewpoint.
How many African men are like that? I know you can cook, and obviously I cook too, but we are talking about not like not 21st century. That was like late 20th century. Yeah. So, and the fact that he was also raised by a single mom, though it was because of circumstances that were not under his control. He lost the dad earlier on, like the mom did remarry, but he was not wayward per se. He was actually a cool-headed guy and a very hardworking one at that. And what would you say about the mom, Ngozi's mom?
I love her. That's one thing I would say. I love her, especially when the scene. I know it's a controversial scene for most people, when she was slapped after she told the committee that they're having that this man looks like he stole this money, and instead of him to like rebut with his own words or something, and at least clear himself out of the accusation and say he didn't do it, and at least provide evidence he didn't do it. He went ahead to slap her, to accost her, just further proving his guilt. And then even after she tried to, she's not even accost him back. She just went to the door, locked it, and put the key in her bra.
Exactly.
This whole story now turned out to be like she was fighting. So it just showed the hurdles that an African woman, particularly a single mother, would even face.
And not just because she was a single mother, I think also the fact that she was an academia, and at that time you wouldn't find many women being in that position, and also it was a male-dominated position at that time. And also, some people would just expect women to like respect men despite whatever that man is doing, just because you are a man. And this one, it's not as if she didn't, to even start with, she did not disrespect this man. She was just asking for accountability, like and the man went physical, and she didn't react. And look how
I think she reacted the best way she could
actually. Yeah, she was collected. She just locked the door, and that also shows how strong she was. Like the fact that she wasn't scared. She wasn't scared of speaking up and doing the necessary thing, even though the conditions were not favorable to her. Now we'll just briefly talk about the different themes of the novel. Like we mentioned earlier on, race, teenage love that transcended years, and also different geographical regions, and also feminism, and those are the three major themes of the novel, though. Right?
Yes, I think that's covers most of it.
So starting with the love, well, for me, I could not really relate to that story because, okay, while I was in secondary school, the last thing I would have talked about was falling in love because then that was not even part of what was in my head. But these were two young guys, these were two young stars that fell in love in secondary school, and this love story like continued till they got into a higher institution. Obviously, they were in the same school initially together, according to the novel, University of Nigeria. Then at some point they had to one had to migrate to United States. That's the person of Ifemelu. And even while in the United States, initially they were still communicating together through phone calls, emails, but at some point something happened that made them that caused a breach in their communication. I don't know if I should go into details, but in case you still don't want to read the novel, okay, what happened? Okay, I won't go into details. You should read the novel if you're interested in the story. But after that happened, there was a breach in their communication, and this was not just for like a week or a month. This was like for years. Ifemelu actually cut all communication between herself and Obenze. After that, she had like series of relationships. She had series of relationships in the United States, and even with that, she just discovered that she wasn't satisfied being with any other person. There was still a part of her longing for Obenze, her secondary school sweetheart. And after that, she broke up and she left United States and came back to Nigeria. And when they reconnected, they both realized that they still wanted each other. And this was weird because by this time Obenze was already married to another very pretty lady, and from the way she was described, that was the person of Kosina, the way she was described in the novel, she was a very like good person, a typical wife material. So personally, I'm not happy the way the novel like treated her. I didn't like the way the story ended up for her. Despite her being a very godly wife, a good woman, a good mother, a responsible young lady, Obenze had to like, it's as if Obenze was not really connected to her, didn't really have much feelings for her. According to the novel, it's just as if Obenze just wanted to settle down, and she felt that this woman would make a good mother and wife. But when she now finally got reconnected to her secondary school sweetheart, Obenze, the person of Obenze, did not blink twice before like going back, leaving all that behind, like leaving the family behind, leaving the. By this time, Obenze and Kosi had already like given birth to they already had a daughter, and so it was really like a sad part of the story for me. I became emotional. I was actually feeling for Kosi, but for me, I don't think that teenage love can actually. I think this is just because it is fiction. It is because it is fiction. Teenage love cannot survive that long.
I'm not a big love person, but I still feel like when there's a connection, there's a connection. And Obenze most likely didn't even want to marry. He did not want to marry.
Then why did you marry her?
He needed to settle down.
They didn't force you.
No. He needed to settle down, and I think that disturbed his mentality. When he saw Kusi and when he saw those things that he used to feel before just surfaced again, and it was too much for him to bear.
But
saw that there was
okay. I know we are both youngsters, but you believe with me that love is not just a feeling. Like it doesn't just end in the feeling aspect. Love is also commitment. This is someone you've already settled down with.
But he didn't love her. That's the thing.
If you didn't love her, why would you marry her? Why did you?
It's not the first. You can't say this. That's why this book is quite real. You don't marry. Not in fact, if you take a poll, I don't know, or many married people, if they are willing to tell you the truth, I'm not sure that many of them are actually married because they are in love with each other. So married for different reasons.
Actually, someone said that in the novel. A friend of Obenze said most of us did not marry who we loved.
Yes.
We married when we were ready and who was available as of that time. But then I think anybody you end up marrying, you should actually stay committed to that person. Because okay, now what will become of the daughter? Like that's an
but is it what
daughter.
living in a life that you never like and you just be wishing, what if I had
okay,
gone with the other person?
Can I make an can I infer something here? Okay, from my own religious aspect now, this is not a secular speech.
Yes.
Like from my own religious aspect, it is commanded that you love who you marry. Like because love can actually be learnt. Love can actually be learnt, and it can be just the way love can die, love can actually grow. You can make a conscious effort to love somebody, especially that person is also making that same effort. So I think from my own point of view now, if Obeze had tried, he would have actually loved Kosi, because Kosi was actually everything I think any man would want. He literally gave Obeze peace. Like she was very peaceful and she was really pretty. Like the way they described her, in fact, she was being mistook for a misrace person. Okay. Well, I still am not happy with the way things turned out. Kosi, personal opinion now. Kosi deserved much better than the way she was treated or portrayed in this novel. And Obeze did not try. He should have done better now, because he was not forced to marry this lady for goodness sake. And the way he even broke up, he just came back one evening from seeing Ifemelu and told her, Kosi, I'm not happy. I want a divorce.
To say the truth, he's not happy. And I think that's, for me, that's the main headline. He was not happy in the relationship. No matter how perfect he was painted to look, no matter how pretty she was, no matter whatever she was, he still was not happy.
He was not forced to marry her.
Yeah, but doesn't mean he was happy. It doesn't mean he was happy doing it. He already told her he's not happy being in such a relationship. And I think that's like one of the main things that the underlining thing there is that
if you are not happy, you walk away.
Yes, relationship is not by force. They weren't putting a gun on his head to say he must remain in the marriage. There was no benefit for him remaining in the marriage if he could go to, because yes, his daughter was there, but he was not happy. And
so, but can I ask you this question? What guarantees that he's going to be happy by the time he settles down with Ifemelu? What if he now discovers that it was just mere feelings? Maybe a few months down the path, or few years down, and he's already feeling the same way again. He walks out again, then he moves on to another person. Same thing happens, he keeps walking out again, because you can never be sure. That's one shortcoming of fiction. You know, most times it's just a section that was written. For instance, now this novel did not capture the whole lifespan of these characters. It stopped at a point. If you want to judge from that point, I think okay, Obeze made the right choice. He's going to live happily ever after, but that's not guaranteed. What if he finds out that Ifemelu is not the person he used to know? He used to know back in high school, back in secondary school.
But she obviously has changed.
Obviously, she has changed one, and also she has not even given birth now one. And the fact that this is
that's not a criteria for him to actually discuss.
Yeah, that's not a criteria, but the fact that this is just chemistry that is at play now, that is making him to run after her. There's a fall in this chemistry that is going on between these two lovebirds now. What would become of them? Would he also walk out and tell her I'm not happy?
I don't know. Okay. Anyway,
I think I'm just, your points are valid actually. I'm just trying to tell you.
I think we'll just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Well, you obviously do not like how it ended for Kosi. Yeah. I'm not looking at it from Kosi's point of view. I'm looking at it from Obize's point of view. He did what made him happy. But I'm a bit biased towards Ifemelu. Maybe that's why I'm actually saying
it's just like saying, okay, we are in med school now. We both know how med school is. Is med school sweet?
No, it's not.
Imagine, okay, I say I want to drop out now. I will go and tell my course advisor, so I'm not happy. I want to drop out. If that novel, if I was a character in the novel and the novel stops there, they will say happily ever after. But 10 years down, I'm not going to be happy I made that decision.
I could have nothing ends happily ever after.
Yes.
I think that's what the novel was trying to portray too. Nothing ends happily ever after.
But in a way, it ended happily ever after for Benzi, as at the point of the ending of the novel though, even though we don't know what transpired later. So I think we've dwelled much on this.
Yeah, because that was actually one of the main themes of the novel.
Yeah.
The love story between the female lead and
Benzi.
Okay. So I'll just talk about the second theme, of which I think is a bit important to mention, is the change that had to do with going to a new environment, both for Ifemelu particularly and Benzi. Ifemelu went to a new country on another continent, America. She was coming from a place where everything is done differently. There are different races, not just blacks, a lot of white people. Like she had a lot of race relations with a lot of different people, even with her first boyfriend who was white. I think one striking scene was when she wanted to speak Igbo to Dike, I think her aunt's, I think her cousin, yes. Yeah. So the aunt was like, don't speak Igbo to him. Maybe she felt in her heart that teaching him to speak Igbo would make him interfere and they make him not like appealing to the whites or the so-called society. So she wanted to shield him away from all the Nigerianness in quotes, or all the Africanness, and just throw it aside. Even when it had to do with the hair, she had to even start women had to start wearing her hair in a different style to just try to appeal to the society that was different outside there. Now, I think it was important for Chimamanda to say that, baby, because of my personal struggles too, when she went abroad, I saw that it was a different lifestyle outside compared to what she yes. So, the theme she brought out was actually quite. I enjoyed it because it showed that it showed the difference really between here and out there when you and this the kind of culture shock and change that comes with moving out there. I just feel like the way she later discovered and accepted herself for who she was is the story that should be for everyone living. To be like, I'm not going there to go change myself. I think I'm unique, and it's that uniqueness that most likely will take me far wherever I am. And she started a blog to show and to like talk about this about racism and the rest of that. So I felt like that was the highlight of the novel.
Yeah.
That she finally accepted who she was. And even when TK came back to Nigeria, she started speaking Igbo, telling me this is your roots, this is who you are. You should wear it proudly and not to be scared and say,
One thing I see with this, sorry to cut you short, with this novel, the fact that Chimamanda was actually using one stone to kill several birds.
Yes.
Like using that racism to address some peculiar issues in our society, and also while at the same time showing a touch of feminism, show Ifemelu's lifestyle, ruggedness, I don't care attitude.
Yes. So I think that was an important one for her to play. That part was important to me, particularly because everybody wants to run away. They need to know where you're going out there to face out. How you should look at yourself.
Bed of Roses are there one.
Yes.
Culture shock, and the fact that
you have to change yourself in so many ways.
You have to change a lot of things.
And people change their names to just try and fit. So they can call you with a name you can easily.
If I should go out there, I want to
I understand. You have to change your name so that you can pronounce it well and not modernize every time the white person decides to speak your name. Even a black American self that have never had any touch with Africa. So it was important she put it up.
Before we finally call it a day, I just want to appreciate my friend Gotin for honoring my invitation to come. Even though this is a small channel, but I hope that one day in the future we'll come back and watch this video and remember this very day. We remember this very day, how that we're together just reviewing this novel and having a good time. You might be in another part of the world. Yeah, I might be in another part of the world or anywhere God asked me to stay. So thank you so much once again. So please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly do that, and also like this video and share with your friends. Thank you for having us. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.